If you see some characteristics of actuating systems, it should be weight and power of the weight ratio and operating pressures. Stepper motors are generally heavier than a servo motor for the same power, even though they both will generate the same power, but stepper motors are considered as a heavier than a servo motor, right? In where we need a motor, the where we want to application to be created very lightweight, then we can have a servo motor user in that for actuation. A high voltage of electric motors, the better the power ratio, right? We'll have to consider these principles while selecting the actuation system for the robots. Pneumatic systems delivers a low power to a weight ratio. Then comes the hydraulic system that has a highest power ratio against a weight ratio. In these systems, the weight is actually composed of two portions. That is, one is hydraulic actuators and the other is hydraulic power unit. That consists of pump, cylinders, arms, and filters and electric motor. If the power unit must also have a robot, then the total power to the weight ratio will be much less. If you consider another characteristics of the actuators, stiffness versus compliance. When the stiffness is the resistance of the material that is used against a deformation. The stiffer the system, the larger the load that need to be deformed. Okay. Conversely, the more compliance in the system is easier to deform under the load. Stiffness is directly related to the modules of elasticity of the material. Hydraulic systems are very stiff, non-compliant, while pneumatic systems are easily compressed and thus compliant. Right? Stiff systems have a more rapid responses to changing loads and pressures and more accurate. So we should have a stiff system while we considering the actuators. Although stiffness causes a more responsive and more accurate system, it also creates a dangers if all things are not always perfect. These are the considerations which you have to do while we are deciding which actuators has to be used for which type of application in the robots, right? So broadly, if you try to understand what actuation system will look like, a power supply would be there and attached with power amplifier. The electric power would be passed depending on it, and there is a servo motor. Here they have used a servo motor, right? That will convert the energy, mechanical energy, into the robot to the move from one place to another, which will create actuation in the robot. If you see the electrical actuators, the advantages of them is they are easy to control, and they varies from a volt to the megavolt, and normally the high volt velocities of 1000 to 10,000 rpm, and there are many types of electrical actuators available in the market, and they are accurate servo control, right? Then ideal torque for driving, they're having excellent efficiency, right? Autonomous power system. These are the few advantages when you compare these electrical actuators with the other hydraulic or pneumatic. So based on the usage efficiency, we can choose the electrical actuators. Few types of electrical actuators are servo motor, DC motor, and stepper motor, synchronous, asynchronous, reluctant motors. Different types of motors are already available. Already these are being used in our labs also. From labs to so many other applications, these motors are already being used. Most of the time, servo motor is used in the most of the robotic applications because of its nature of stiffness and other things. If you consider broadly the servo system, it's a mechanism based on a feedback control. The control quality is a mechanical, right? The properties, if you see, it has a high maximum torque force allowed with the high acceleration. That's what required for our industrial robot and manufacturing companies. We require a robot to be very high, having a high force and high torque involved in it, and high zero torque and a force. High bandwidth that will provide accuracy and fast control. right? In automatic way where the batch processor are happening in the industrial area, we should have a higher bandwidth with the accuracy, with the fastest control, right? If the feedback control, if it is there, then it's easy for any mechanical industrial work, things to get it done with the faster, with the accuracy. Then works in all our four quadrant, and it is robust in nature. If you see, okay, if you see the electrical servo motors, there are advantages of that. That is, a power supply is available everywhere. If you start using the electrical servo motors, the power supply is one of the important thing that is already available everywhere currently with a low cost, and it is a largely variety of products. High power conversion with the efficiency, they are easy to maintain, and they are not polluting the working environment, right? If everything is in set up properly with the cable, everything attached, they won't be having much pollution created in the working environment. The one some disadvantages, if you see, the overheating of a static conditions. Yeah, in presence of some gravity and other things, the overheating might happen, and that may damage the cables and other things. Then use of emergency brakes, need for special protection in flammable. Yes, in the case of fire and other things, and if the heat is more, then there is a chance of breaking of the system, right? That requires extra energy, extra protection to be in place. That involves extra cost, extra things on the robotic materials. In stepper
कल हमारे
motor,
को भोग कहाँ रहा था है कल कल भोग कहाँ रहा था भोग कहाँ रहा था बोल भोग कहाँ रहा था भोग कहाँ रहा था भोग कहाँ रहा था है भोग रहा था मेरे को
hello,
हम
Hello,
खाना
just
देते हैं
mute Vijay
बताओ
Kumar. Who is Vijay
खाना तेरे
Kumar?
लिए बनाते हैं
can you please
भूख
mute
Vijay
रहा
Kumar
था
yourself?
Singh. Hello, Vijay Kumar Singh, mute yourself. Okay, Arun sir, just continue.
सॉरी
Okay. Okay, when we talk about stepper motors advantages, the sequence of three or more poles is activated in terms that is moving in a smaller steps also, right? The stepper motor's capacity and speciality of the stepper motor is it will move. It will start with three or more different poles, right? Very low speed to high speed angular precision is possible without reducing the gearing by using the many rotor teeth. It can also perform a micro step by activating both coils at once. So these are the variety of stepper motors which are available. They will give us a customized motion in our robots. When you talk about a drive system about the robots, the drive systems are the capacity to move the robot's body, arm, and wrist. Right? They will give a driving system to the robot, a complete body, or it can be only the arm and the wrist based on the requirement. It will determine the speed of the arm movement, strength of the robot, and the dynamic performance. The type of applications that robot can be accomplished, right? Powered by the three type of drive system which we can regularly see in the market is hydraulic, pneumatic, and electrical drive systems. A broad example of one pictorial diagram of actuators in that hydraulic actuators, pneumatic, and electrical actuators are being used. They will generate a rotary joints, and rotary joints will have a rotary movement of the robot and reciprocating and rotary type, translation type, and servo motors used in electrical, stepper motors, direct drive motors used for if you consider the electric actuators, then you have a servo, stepper, and direct. If you consider the hydraulic, you have a rotary type and reciprocating type. If you can consider the pneumatic, we have a rotary and reciprocating type, right? Continuing the hydraulic drive that is associated with the large robot. This can be used hydraulic movements can be used in larger robots, like they cannot be used for the nano technology or small robotic technology. This requires a larger space. It provides a greater speed and the strength. That is the advantage of it. And it will have a floor space. It will have extra space, and it requires extra space in the robotic diagram, right? There is a disadvantage is that there could be a leakage of the oil, and it will provide either rotational and linear motion. This kind of drives will help a robot to move from rotational to the linear motions, right? But there is a disadvantage is that it will have some kind of leakage that has to be cleaned occasionally. Some applications used from using this hydraulic drives are spray coating robot, heavy part landing robot, material landing robot, translatory motions in the Cartesian robot. So these are the big in the bigger industry, and with a highest space, they tend to use this type of hydraulic drive used in those robots. The simple diagram hydraulic drive will look like this in this under a robotic schematic diagram. It will provide a linear motion as well as a cylindrical motion. It will be provided to the if you use the drive system, hydraulic drive system, it will provide a linear motion and the rotary motion to the robot. The more example of given to it how the things will happen by using this hydraulic drive, how the robot will get actually move from one place to it will start moving the arms from a linear way or the rotary way. The motor and pump, they will have a filters in it. They use a servo valve internally connected to each other that will produce the energy to the momentary to the robot. One more drive system, if you consider, that is a pneumatic drive system that is reserved for a smaller robot. They are well reserved, they're well suited for smaller kind of robots, and they are limited to the pick and place operations with a fast cycle, right? If you consider some example of automation of um, manufacturing system where Coca-Cola bottles you have to pick very fast. The cycle will be very fast, right? Every second you have to pick one bottle. That type of pick and place operations, these with the fast cycles, that type of if you imagine that type of industry, the pneumatic drive kind of drive system will be used for a robotic small type of robots. They will have a pick precisely. They will make a pick and place operations in a faster manner, right? They will drift under the load as air is compressible. There is some slight deviation might be happening because of the air compression, right? That is kind of disadvantage when using the pneumatic drive. But they will provide a rotational as well as a linear motion for the robot. They are simple and a low cost component in the robot. Used for open and close gripper. These are the type of application they can use this pneumatic drive. It's a kind of an example they have given for a pick and place where the pneumatic drive is used in this robot. That it will pick the object and it will place in the specified location. Then comes the electrical drive. Electric drive kind of a rotor, starter, brush, and a commutator assembly. Rotor has gone windings of armature and the stator has got magnets. The brush and the commutator assembly switch the current in the armature windings. The most commonly used are DC motors, servo motors, and AC servo motors and stepper motors. This is how commonly the electric drive or electric motor would look like, with the actual speed, the position control, speed controllers, and the AC DC motor, and the desired speed and the current. Few more example of electric drive with respect to the stepper motor, AC stepper motor. Then if you consider the speed of the motion in the robotics, the speed determines how quickly the robot can accomplish the given work, right? The response time of the robot, right? Every second, if I have a requirement to pick my Pepsi bottle or place a cap for the bottle, every second it has to place the one cap on each bottle, right? That is the speed, how quickly the robot will respond to such work. That is considered as the speed of the motion. The desirable in production is minimize the cycle time. Industrial robot speed range up to maximum up to 1.7 second milliseconds they are talking about, right? In every milliseconds to half of that, the each one product will get. I mean the outer example, if I say one Pepsi bottle coating, I'm saying, but if I want to put MRP label on that, or example, any type of industrial, if you see, every second to second matters, and every second the automation will be in place. They will be having the n number of bottles will be getting in a second. They will coming in a serial way. Then robotic has to be precisely working that. Highest speed can be obtained by large robot with a fully extended arm. Yeah, the highest speed, if we see, if we give a smaller degree of freedom, the robots cannot move the arms freely, right? But if you give the highest speed to the um, extended arm, it means the degree of freedom is more, then the work done by the robot will be very high, and it will achieve in the speed with the higher speed. So the coordination and other things are the important aspect while we design the robot. Most desirable speed depends on the accuracy, weight, and the distance. We measure this speed depending on the accuracy and what is the weight of the object that robot has to weigh, and what distance it has to travel. Inverse relation between accuracy and the power. Heavier objects must be handled more slowly. Yeah, that is correct. Capable of traveling from one long distance to the less time than the sequence short distance whose sum is equal to the long term. So these are the few aspects of a speed of motion that we consider, along with the load carrying capacity of a robot. How in what aspects of the depends on the load carrying. It depends on size, configuration, and the construction and drive system. What type of loads the robot has to carry, it depends on the what type of size, what size your robot is, and how it is configured, and what is the drive unit has been accomplished in it, right? The robot arm must be in its weakest position to calculate the load carrying capacity. In polar cylindrical and joint arm, the robot arm at maximum extension ranges from less than a pound on from several thousand pounds. Gross weight includes the weight of the end effector. If you look at the control system of the robotic system, the controlling drive system is properly, it will regulate the motion of the robot. The four categories, if you look into: limited sequence robot, playback robot with the PTP control, playback robots with the continuous path control, and intelligent robot. The four different type of control units we have in order to regulate the movement of the robots. Speed, response, and stability. The speed of the response refers to the capability of a robot to move to the next position in a short amount of time. If I have to give a momenter to the robot, how fast the robot will move from one place to another place. That depends on the speed and the response stability of that robot. Stability is defined as a measure the oscillation which occurs when the arm is during the movement. Okay, along with the movement of the robot, the arm has to be moved from along with it. That's where the stability it comes into the picture. How the gripper will be moved from one place to another place. A good stability exhibits limit or no oscillation. Poor stability indicates large amount, right? So my arms of the robot should not be moving much. That much rigid joint should be in place, so that robot will not have oscillations much, right? If I have a JCB, that JCB is carrying its manipulator, right? That should not be moving. That is moving along with the robot, right? Full drive unit and control unit. But my oscillation should not be happening much. It should be stiff, so that robot will have a higher speed. Damping control stability, but reduces the speed of the response. So if you have a damping control, this one that will reduce the speed of the response. They are calculated with some graphical pictorial diagrams they have shown here, how the position and the time will take when you want to reach the desired positions. Spatial resolution is defined as the smallest increment of a movement into which a robot can divide its work volume. Depends on the two factors, the system controls resolution and the robot mechanical inequations. Control resolution is determined by a robot position control system and its feedback measuring system, whereas the ability to divide the total range of movement for the particular joint into individual increments that can be addressed in the controllers. Joint large depends on the bit storage capacity of the control memory, right? Have a control resolution for each joint in the case of several degree of freedom. What does it mean? It means if you have a three way of degree of freedom for the from particular robot, we should have a control mechanism to it. Like mean the number of joints attached to it between the two arms should be very rigid in order to control the resolution of that. Resolution of each joint is summed as a velocity. The total control resolution depends on the wrist motion as well as the body of the motion. The complete body, arm, wrist motion all together will form the control system of the robot. Mechanical inclination comes from the elastic deflection in the structure elements, gear backslash, stretching of pulley cords, leakage of hydraulic fluids, and other imperfections of the mechanical system. Right? This would cause a robot to less efficient. Leakage of hydraulic fluid and some other stretching of the pulley cords. This would make my robot application to work less efficiently. They are also affected by the load being handled, the speed of the arm movement, and the condition of the robot. If you want to have compliance, the displacement of the wrist end in the response to the force of the torque extended against it. High compliance means wrist is displaced in a large amount by a small force as a springy. It reduces the robot precision of a movement under the load. Directional feature and reaction force of the part may cause deflection to the manipulator. So altogether, we have to understand while you are constructing or while you are designing some robot, you should have a better planning for the design. Most of the time spent on the planning stage while designing the robot, how the manipulator should look like and what are the degree of freedom the robot has to move and what are the torque, what are the force that involved in it. That's where the actuators also helps, what type of actuators we should use. So if you have any queries, then we will discuss on that. Otherwise, I will just go back and explain the cloud technology, whatever I have stopped it. Are we good to go to the session which we left over? So when we were in the first session, we were talking about some cloud technology, right? Just I will summarize the things what we have discussed in the cloud as a platform. What are the type of deployment models we had in our cloud, right? Public cloud, private cloud, community cloud. Depending on the usage, what type of cloud you fit into, you can use that. The public cloud, what are the characteristics of that private cloud, how the heterogeneous infrastructure will be there and the dedicated resource would be there for your private cloud and community cloud, hybrid cloud. When you talk about this model, it has a infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, right? Infrastructure wherein your networking and your storage, computation in the sense hardware material for deploying the application will be there. And the platform is something which will all the components, OS level component, kernel parameters, services, everything will be deployed. The code will be deployed in the platform level, and in the application side we have a marketplace, custom packaging will be there, and user interface, machine interface, reporting will be done from this. Already we have spoken about these things, cloud technology and other things. I was talking about how cloud will be helping the uh, robots, right? Robotic clouds, how it will offer the um, clouds in the technology, how the cloud technology will offer robots to make a better way. Cloud robotics offers a better robotic increased computational power and storage space. By using the cloud, you need not to, the robot should not be thinking much. They should be only connecting to the network, then they can fetch the data from the cloud, right? The brain is offloaded to the cloud. We can say that because the cloud will have all the data. All that you need is a connectivity to the cloud to get the real-time data to optimize it and perform the task. Cloud-enabled robots are not required to perform the complicated tasks, right? They're ease of brain now, but can offload a computation to the recognition, pattern computation vision to the cloud. All this type of work will be done at a cloud. Cloud platform will provide you all this one, matching computation, computer vision, speech analysis, object recognition. All these type of intensive tasks are done at the cloud level. All that you need is connectivity. These three tasks can be solved by in a much faster in a real time, utilizing the massively parallel computation and grid computing capability. Cloud has that capability to streamline and to optimize the things whatever that they get from the different uh, technology. By using those technology, cloud will provide a faster way of getting the data to the robots. Along with the dynamic offloading of the computational task, cloud infrastructure in the cloud robotics supports elastic on-demand availability of computational resources, right? Many applications we have already discussed, right? Other applications rapidly gives a rise to the enormous amount of sensor data, right? It will provide all the data. A big data concept, if you have aware Hadoop big data, those concepts will be derived out of the cloud. In addition to these advantages, cloud robotics enables robots to have access to the big data, such as global maps for localization, object models that the robots might need for manipulation tasks, as well as open source algorithm and code. So many objects, algorithms, open source softwares are available in the cloud that robots can make use of it to perform the real-time work. Then we have last something which has emerged nowadays, the networked robots. If you have heard of networked robots already, the 5G, 4G technology, they are using it here to make robots which are connected to in the LAN, WAN, or Wi-Fi. They are interlinked in the same WAN, same LAN, or a home, same LAN network, and they will perform their end goal is to perform the same task with the multi-thread purposes. Networked robots refer to the multiple robots operating together in a coordination or cooperatively with the sensors, embedded computer, and human users. Cooperation is more than one entity working towards a common goal, while coordination implies a relationship between entities that ensures the efficiency and harmony. Right? They all work together a single common goal. If I take one example of a group of robots playing snooker, right? All the end goal is to make a goal, and they are all interlinked to each other, and they are all working towards the same goal to make a goal. Communication between entities is a fundamental both in cooperation and coordination. But we should have a better communication. It is called as intercommunication between the robots. They're all in the same subnet mask. They're all in the same network, right? They all perform the same role. Hence, that is the role of the network is very much important here. The more robust is the network, the easier the job. Networked robots allows the multiple robots and auxiliary entity to perform the tasks that are well beyond the ability of a single robot. So making the networked robot, we can achieve same task achieved in a very faster manner or a more efficient manner, right? Where a single robot can do it, but it will be done very late or it will not be that much efficient. By using the networked robot, we can achieve that in a very faster and um, efficiently. Now the 5G tech network has come up. Robots, they are started using the 5G networks also to make networked robots. This is how the network robot would look like. All the robots are interconnected via intranet or internet. They will use the internet as a network and they communicate to each other. They will perform the same goal. They will perform the same task. If you guys have any queries, if I know, then I'll definitely answer it. If not, I'll try to answer it offline. Are we good to close the session for the day? I request Mantesh sir to take over.
Mahandesh Chaudhary, sir.
After your participants. माइक ऑफ कर लीजिए, म्यूट कीजिए उसको. Now with this is span of time yesterday where I left out with so like a few sensors. The sensors, if you consider heartbeat sensor, then servo motor, we didn't get output for or else expected output for this servo. This servo, then as I told, so LCD display with the I2C. So LCD display with the I2C. So we will just come to know how to display characters with the SCL, SDA, clock, SDA, and VDD VCC connectivities. So next, like a servo based application. So gripper, what you are having, then some impression model. So some impression model, how that used to operate, or how the binary image has been taken, like that. We'll just go through this some impression model. And at the end, finally, we'll be moving out with home automation. So at present, what I explained today, that is almost a concept is based on home automation. So whatever at present you are seeing, with a controller and for application, like you consider fan, then what all components you're having it here. So if you consider fan and three lights like that, whatever small kind of project what we're having using a Bluetooth and Arduino Uno board, so along with the relays. So finally we'll end up or to conclude these. Coming towards first one, servo motor. Whatever red connectivity is there, it is a VCC or else how the step to 180 or else sweep not. So like these kinds of applications. So if you consider VCC and a ground connectivity, so there is a out connectivity like that. Fine. No? So any kinds of sensors, if you consider, you will be having a ground VCC and application based, whether that is operating with a 5 volt, whether that is operating with a 12 volt, like that. We need to know the voltage, operating voltage. Like if you consider fingerprint, they used to operate with 3.3, and uh, at present what I'm having, it used to operate with a 5 volt like that. So based on that, and present what thumb impression or else sorry heartbeat sensor what I'm having here, that used to operate with 5 volt, and this is what digital pins actually we need to connect towards the digital. And next, if you come across, as I explained yesterday, so whatever the interfacing if you do with the I2C, so I2C there is a connector like this at present what you are seeing, that is having S SCL, I think you can see serial clock, serial data. Then along with that, you are having VCC ground connectivities, like those 4 pins we are having it here: ground connectivity, VCC connectivity, SDA, and SCL. If you just connect this VCC ground towards whatever power supply that you should give it to this LCD screen, and the last two, whatever that used to make out with SDA and SCL, no. So those if you just make out here. So make out with the A4 and A5 pins which are available in Arduino. So if you connect also address based on that 03A, 2F like that. So whatever 27, whatever the address that is available to that port, if you connect, almost the communication will happen through I2C with the help of this small board. So instead of 8-10 pins, you can just within a 4 pins you can just get whatever the outputs you are planning to, or as the display what you are planning to, 16 cross 2 LCD display. And similarly, you will be having, as I shown, a thumb impression model. So this thumb impression model, similarly, what we used to do with, like we need to enroll initially. So after enrollment, so whenever which application part we are just making it for, so then verification will happen according to whatever the enrollment happened. If you are not enrolled with, then application process can't be processed, or else you can't just proceed with, because you need to have almost some images inside, stored with whatever data, whatever the data storage they used to have. So first you need to enroll. Then after that, while application part, you will automatically fingerprint will identify, and according to application. So yeah, if you want to display your name, it will display your name. Or if you want to, if you are planning it for something like application based, your name should be displayed, or some application should happen. It will happen according to that. Then if possible, we'll just go ahead with the 2 3 4s, like if you just join these kinds of smoke sensors like that in a code. We need to connect almost whatever ground and VCC connectivities what you are having. So those we need to connect, and according to that you will be getting display. So you need to write code in Arduino or else embedded C, so that almost these 4 components, they should display the readings. Almost 4 components, what the readings that you are planning it for, they should display almost all those readings. So first initially we'll just move ahead with the servo. Servo will connect, and we'll verify the results. Just a minute, I will come back. So take connectivities for that. So I've taken around 3 connectivities. So first one, ground connectivity, we need to ground. Then second connectivity, we need to give power supply. Then third one, yellow, that is nothing but signal. They are connected with the pin number 9, 8, 9. So after connecting,
I'm sharing my screen now. So as we are running a stepper motor, so if we just go with the examples which are based on servo knob and sweep like that, we are having two examples. So we'll consider servo sweep, and in this first one, whatever we have seen yesterday, if I just look at that, then I think we'll come to know. First one, what happened, whatever the connectivity that happened, no? Almost that is with pin number 9. So connect that servo to digital pin 9. So pin number 9 we are going to connect with. Then after connecting, check which pump connectivity is towards the port. Then check board, which board is connected. Then finally, just to verify that port once. Then after compiling sketch, we need to upload. Done compiling. So now I am uploading. Almost uploaded. You can see that servo is running now. So 0 to 180 with whatever code you are having goes from 0 degree to 180 degree with whatever tells the servo to go to a position in a variable like a pose whatever it used to make out with my servo dot write pose what you have given according to that. So it waits for 15 milliseconds for a servo to reach its position, real position. So again it will come back. So again the movement that used to happen along with the rotation that used to made out with the 180 degree like that. So this is with respect to servo. So similarly like this, as we know, as I told you, even gripper, the applications like a gripper can be made with the help of this. So how to make out? Again, same connectivity. Gripper is having 3 connectivities. So we need to have VCC ground connectivity first. So this one is 5-volt connectivity. The power supply connectivity, just give it to pin number 2. Then the top one, that is nothing but the ground connectivity, brown colored wire, that you just ground it. Then next to that is your main pin. So that you need to give it to the pin number 9. So I'm just connecting it now. And we need to provide power supply after this. Almost like it is rotating with this much, like see. It used to stop, again it used to open. So pick and place or as a whole, like that kind of applications we can make out with the help of these kinds of filter. Then next we are having LCD. I2C based LCD connectivity. So for that, open code. Okay. So liquid crystal display I2C LCD, whatever you're having, so that is connected with the 0x3F there. So that they are nothing but they are addressed from 16 cross 2 where you are having A4. So A4, A5 connectivities we should give it there. And before that, again as I told, you will be having what? You will be having a VCC and ground connectivities. The first one is the ground connectivity. Then the top to that we are having VCC connectivity. Nothing but a 5 volt. Then SDA and SCL. That is nothing but A4 and A5. A4 and A5. Like this we should give. And we are having few sensors here, A0, A1, A2, A3, like if we consider. So we are having few sensors which are connected. 1, 2, 3. Also make it 3, 4, 5, how many you want. So first it should display smart smoke detection system like that. So after that, whatever the variations that used to happen. At present, I'm leaving it blank, or else we'll connect to 1 or 2 sensors if possible. Or else at present I will leave blank. So because of if you are not connecting anything, so it will be giving junk values. But we need to keep what you are writing here, smart smoke detection system, that should be displayed from way to way. 0, 0, cursor 0, 0 it should start with, and with the next to that detection system, if you consider 0, 1, that is in the second line. So again, in second line, if you consider, it should start with 0 like that. It will take that code, or else it will take that letters, whatever those letters are there, and it will display. And here, if you can see, you are having loop connectivity like temperature, smoke, LPG, then carbon monoxide types of gas detection system. Actually, this is so not only one sensor, like even you can connect 3 kinds of sensors, where you can connect these 3 kinds of sensors, as we know, A0, A1, A2, A3. All these kinds of sensors are analog sensors, and if you're planning for digital, even you can just make out with. So see, in a loop we need to put, okay, which all sensors you are using it. For that, again, you need to write separate code for each sensor. That's what that is happening here. Wide loop, temperature you are planning to make out, smoke you are planning to make out, also you want to get the readings. Then LPG you want to get readings, carbon monoxide if you want to get reading. So like almost all these kinds of sensors we'll put it. Then almost delay for almost, it should check after each and every whatever sensors you're having. After every 2 seconds, it should verify and it should display those whatever readings that used to come. Here, what happens? So if you consider first one, temperature, again we know ground connectivity, VCC connectivity you should make, and along with that, one A0 connectivity will make it. So that will what, if we are increasing temperature, if you are decreasing temperature, the variations will happen in that A0, and according to that A0 value will be displayed on your LCD. Similarly, smoke, if we consider that, we'll just plan it with A1. See, A1. Now here what happens again? It used to make out, or it used to what? It used to get values, ethanol sensor values, or else, how much percentage. If you consider our atmosphere or as a surrounding area, how much of ethanol percentage that is there, it will be identified by ethanol type kinds of sensors, and the value will be displayed on LCD again. That is nothing but MQ3 sensor, we can tell. Then next to these, after these two, we are having like LPG and carbon monoxide cancer sensors. Again, their field connectivities, if you consider A2, A3 like that. So these are the two pin connectivities, again analog pins. So LPG gas sensor value will be displayed in the third case. Whatever LPG, if there is a leakage happens, during that kind of applications, I think you can make out this one. LPG gas sensor value that exceeds some critical value, then almost with the help of that, with the help of controllers, alarm system that should happen, or else fire ambulance kinds of things you are planning to call, like that. Then carbon monoxide, very toxic gas as we know. So the surrounding atmosphere or the area that is having almost these kinds of whatever the carbon monoxide content in that air or in that atmosphere. So carbon monoxide kinds of things can be identified with the help of these kinds of sensors. So you are taking almost these 4 or 5 like kinds of sensors according to our application, and you will just monitor with the help of what? With the help of controller. So for this, without connecting sensors, I just want to get a junk value. I will just compile this and verify once. Compiling sketch. And wide setup, or as a setup consideration, if you consider A0, A1, A2, A3, like at present, how the initialization that used to happen with the input, output, done compiling. So I just want to check a COM connectivity. Okay, 61 fine. Now, I will proceed with so I'm dumping code now. So after dumping, also after uploading, I think, see now in that display, if you just see, there is initially the word came like what you are having it there, and what we are planning to make out with like a sensor, smart smoke detection system like that. Even if you observe here clearly, I think it is visible for you. Just check it once. Now, if I reset once, you can see that a smart smoke detection system like those kinds of words here. Smart smoke detection system kinds of words with the help of I2C, we are just making it. After that, if you consider what all junk values that it will automatically take the junk values, and T temperature we want, MQ4, MQ4 we want, MQ3 want, MQ7 we want. Actually, those readings has been taken with the help of controller, and it will be displayed according to application. Then next experiment, that is a heartbeat. Yesterday, I think there are few conflicts. I think it used to not the whatever sensor we are having it here. It is mostly not used to make out all six sense uh, the thumb impression what we need to make out there. Or else, we had some problem with this code yesterday. As I told, you are having a three connectivities here as a V out. V out is nothing but what? V out is your signal. So just open heartbeat. See in this heartbeat, they are connected to pin number 8. So as of now, what we are having, sensor we are having V out with that V out should be connected to pin number 8, 7 pin number 8, and apart from that, you are having a 5-volt connectivity, just connected to 5 volt. Then the last pin will be ground pin like that. So these are ground. This is 5 volt, and this is ground. So as soon as I connect, you can see that sensor is almost it is blinking. No, it just along with the LCD crystal display, we have taken this code. As of now, only we want to demonstrate with whatever heartbeat sensor we're having. We'll just compile the sketch and upload. Port connectivity once we just try out. Comp 61, okay. Then compiling. We'll upload now. So once you just check it, the readings are coming or not. There's one more comp, a small window like that. It is opened or not. Again, you were again here also you are having four connectivities like a VCC ground, transmission and receiving part that used to happen here. So here, if you look at code, in this code, as I told initially, we need to enroll. So Adafruit fingerprint sensor, enroll. And pin number 2 and pin number 3 are connected here, so which are signal pins actually. So this is what, this is the VCC connectivity. This one you use to this one you give it to VCC. Then the next one is the ground connectivity. The last one what we are having it, also the third pin we can tell. One is the VCC, the other one is the ground. This is the ground, and the two rest pins are there, no? The rest two pins are nothing but your TX and RX. Check out once whether that is connected to 5 volt. Then the ground. Now these two blue and yellow pin connectivity is what you're having it here. These two you just connect it to pin number 2 and pin number 3. Pin number 2 and pin number 3. Now again, once again, you just verify this code. So done compiling. Now I need to what? I need to uploading a sketch in controller. So it will understand. We need to enroll with the help of at present what model you are having, some impression model you are having. Error. So once again you verify, compile the sketch. After compiling, upload this sketch. See, done uploading. Now, as soon as I open this serial monitor, because you have given me the 9000 my serial, whatever you are having, that used to make out with at present model not found like that you are getting. So one pin I left out with. So you just connect that one more pin, and if I see this serial monitor, it used to see, it used to ask actually, 1 minute, okay, yellow pin number 2, you just make it, and the blue pin connectivity, you just make it with pin number 3. Since this is a TTL serial communication, it used to happen here. And you can see now here it is asking like please type in the ID number like 1 to 127 what you are having. What ID numbers you are having 1 to 127 like that you need to type. Okay, now I'm giving ID number 1 there. In that comp, if I give ID number 1 and if I press enter, as soon as I press enter, almost you can see it here. In this thumb impression model, it is almost it is asking whether which thumb you want to just refer for like that. So I will give my finger image. See, image has taken now. So image is converted and remove finger. Once again, I need to place same finger. So now it is almost stored with waiting with whatever the number that used to make out. Similarly, like that, if I just make out with 2, so disconnectivity happened. I think 1 minute. So if I give 1. And if I place my finger, image has taken, and remove again same finger, just like enrollment, image taken, stored ID, and I need to press for 2. So if I press 2, again it is asking. So again place. So image for second image it has taken, image converted, again same thing, same finger, almost ID stored with that. So like this, we can store almost 127 like images. Next, we need to what? We need to verify this. Again, go with the open enrollment. It's a fingerprint enrollment like that. Or else there itself you can just verify. A file examples. In this example, you are having adaptive fingerprint sensor. There is a fingerprint like that. So just open this and maximize. So after this, I think you can see it here. Fingerprint. This is for verification actually. So compile sketch. Then next, upload this sketch. See, uploading and done uploading like that you are getting. So I need to what again? I will open serial monitor. So Adafruit fingerprint detection like that. Sensor contains around 17 templates. Before this also just we tried out those templates also it is showing it. And if I place my finger, so it used to found ID 1 with the confidence 270, found ID 1 with the confidence 146 like that. Used to get found whatever the ID that used to match this. So I think you are understanding. It used to take image and those images are stored. If we just check out with the data sheet that is involved in this fingerprint, so it used to take images. Those images are almost stored in a binary format, so that can be reverted back when you just proceed with application back. So these are few types of at present what I covered today, and one more last that is left out with that is nothing but a home automation based. And in that home automation based, we concentrated with 4 application, like almost 3 lights are there, 1 fan is there in that. Again, if you consider lights like that, you will be having positive negative terminal. If you consider again a full fan like that, you will be having positive terminal, negative terminal like that. So to run those, like a prototype, if we plan it for to run those kinds of so if we see this kind of application like a home automation kinds of application at present, what you are seeing it here, it is having what it is having around 3-4 devices with them. And along with that, you are having fan. So you are having around 4 application parts, like 3 lights you are having and 1 fan you are having there. So we need to run this with the help of Bluetooth. That is the thing, but the concepts which are related to HC05. So we need to run based on that. So I want for this I want around the 5 volt connectivity. At present, what you are seeing we are having Arduino board here. So that Arduino board is operating with a 5 volt. At present, what you are seeing is then relays they used to operate with a 12 volt. Whatever 5 volt connectivity that is there, that I have just connected with the USB connectivity here, this one, and HC05 model, whatever power supply that has to come from, it has to come towards HC05 that is coming from Arduino Uno board from here. At present, if you consider here,
then they used to whatever 4 relays you are having. 4 relays, they are getting around a 12-volt supply. 12-volt supply is this one, the last one, if it, whatever you are having it here. And if you consider the black dots, what we are having here, black dots, whatever black dots you can see, one black dot, one black dot, one black dot, one black dot. So positive terminal, whatever the positive
At present, with the mobile phone, Bluetooth only will on, and we are having app for this. If you connect, or else if you just make out with or use the app, so if I see devices like this, so where we can handle like applications based on whatever applications we're planning it for, they can be handled with the help of the present what we are seeing here. So like the three devices I just taken it as a light, and fourth one I have taken it as a fan. So the help of Bluetooth they are running. And this MIT app inventor is having that whatever the app development you should do. Or else we are having open source apps which are available in your Play Store. So if we download those kinds of or this automation, home automation based app like that, so almost along with code you will get. So how much or else what operating voltage delay you need to consider for that, and what are the rest of the things if you consider like fan that should be what within what range that should operate like 12 volt, or else if you consider the connectivity is like whatever the light connectivity if you make out like strips, how with the what operating voltage they used to operate well like that.
So we need to consider a few things, and according to that, we need to proceed with these kinds of projects. And this is my last project. So with this, tomorrow, if possible, I will show this code, or else it will be linked with whatever the notes, final notes we are going to give at the end. So if you are having any doubts, you can ask. And tomorrow we'll proceed with a few more, like GPS based, GSM based, and automation, complete industrial automation boards, which you consider how they used to make out, or else, how they used to implement like that. So there are so many applications involved with them. So those things will concentrate tomorrow if possible. Along with that, main actually concept, tomorrow's concept will be based on robotics. So entire robotic applications, and the starting from sensors, line sensors to pick and place sensors, then firefighting and like wildlife observation robots, like that. So many kinds of robots. So we'll study which robot, how that used to operate, or the operations involved with them. If you're having any doubts, you can ask, or else we'll end this session.
And we have the test. The test is compulsory, and they have 60% of marks to get the certificate. So I request all the participants to take the test and kindly fill the feedback form. So we will tell you about the schedule of the test, and there will be a duration between this. The test break will be over, and between after the duration, the break will be